Hello. Oh, there we are. Got some light on. Oh my goodness. I think this lighting's making me look even paler than I already am. Am I even on the right one? I think so. Um, so here I am. I'm in Italy. For anyone that doesn't know that I'm always on my travels. I am back in Italy and I've had COVID or some form of something like COVID since I got here. Must have been brewing before I actually arrived because literally the next morning when I woke up from my first night here, I've been floored since. So, yeah, it's been a challenge to say the least. Um, but I'm here nonetheless, with or without any participants here tonight. It really doesn't matter. I'm just saying a wee hi to anyone that's here or anyone that joins. A quick reminder, if you're watching this on catch up, remember this is not therapy, it's not coaching or a workshop, it's just me with my book Uncertainty is Your Superpower, where I talk about all stages of my life, from childhood through to a bit of a big pivot in life, and then how I changed my life into being able to work from anywhere, travel, and do lots of different things. It's not easy, but anything is possible if you want to make things happen. So this is kind of how what I talk about in my book. And for those that usually join, you'll know that I will be on chapter 7 now. So I'm going to give it one more minute and then I'm actually just going to jump straight in and record. So, another reminder for anyone watching it on catch up, if you leave any comments on catch up, if you leave them on YouTube in the comment section, I'll always come back with an insightful, thoughtful response. So please feel free to comment on anything. And if you do join live tonight and I don't see you popping up at any point, then please just drop me a wee hello in the chat. Let me know you're here. So as I said, here I am in Italy. It's not very exciting because I'm just sitting in a room on my little mini chair, sofa chair in my room. Oh, hi, Greg. Oh, hi, Denise. But here I am in Italy. I sound very nasally and I apologise about that in advance. But what was the alternative? Not coming on at all. And I thought, no, I've made a commitment to come on every week. So unless I've actually got no voice, then I can push through anything else. But I do apologise for how I sound. So without further ado, so that I don't use up too much my voice just blethering, let's jump into chapter 7. So chapter 7, becoming, stepping into the woman I needed to be. I knew I was changing, small daily shifts, the compound effect, right? The degree, the lifestyle shifts, and how I showed up every day. It was all progress. I even voiced for the first time that I had a bit of an inner hippie inside of me. I dreamt of selling up and buying myself a van, being free to do what I wanted when I wanted. But what would society have to say about that for me in my 40s? I had a dream though. To me, the hippie vibe was more than a desire for location freedom. It was a feeling of trusting in something bigger than me. What I was waking up to was my intuition, that deep gut knowing that had always been there, but I'd never fully trusted, my own inner wisdom, and to trust in my own inner voice. The voice I'd silenced out of fear and obligation for years. Now I listened. And part of that awakening came with discomfort, awkward conversations, healthy boundary setting, and learning not only to meet my needs, but to have my needs not only to meet, excuse me, my COVID brain, and learning to not only meet my own needs, but have my needs met by others. The truth, the basic act of understanding my own needs was a challenge at first. I began to question how I operated in the world. I challenged my beliefs, my reactions to situations and people, and it wasn't easy, but a real change was needed. I took control of the parts that I could control, me. Here's something you might not realise, or it might be the reason you're resisting change. Once you start to pull that thread and the shift begins, nothing is ever the same again. Once you change, you don't see the world in the same way, and it will likely mean that other parts of your life will change to match your new energy, and not everybody wants to lift the lid on that. For me, it was as if something had been triggered within me the day I signed up for the psychology degree, a path that I never planned to walk, but somehow was always meant for me. I should thank God that god awful stint in that toxic work environment. If it hadn't been so horrific, none of this would have happened. I strongly believe that if we resist change, the universe will step in with drastic action. And these days, though, I try not let it get to that point. I aim to listen and act fast. My degree was moving things along nicely, and I was really starting to enjoy it. I wasn't just ticking boxes and passing assessments, I was embodying my degree fully because I realised that I wanted to utilise it as part of my new future. I was fascinated by everything I was learning and became a bit of a sponge for knowledge. All I wanted to talk about at that point was what I was learning at uni. I was probably boring to some people or most people. I was officially on my way, and it got me thinking, what if it really was possible to make this degree part of my future career? And it excited me to think that way. I remember sitting one day at Costa in my local village, mulling over my degree and my future. By this point, I knew I wanted to explore what was possible for me outside of the bank, and my degree was the gateway, or so I thought. Excitedly, I called up the Open Uni support line to discuss it, and I recall the lovely woman on the line telling me, "You can't go straight into a counselling profession with this degree." Boom. It was like a bomb going off in my head. After almost 2 years invested in this degree, I have limited options, and my heart sank, but at least I knew where I stood. After a shock phase, I began to think about the next steps and what they would entail. I knew if I wanted to break into a new field, I'd need a hands-on experience. It would be the only way I'd be able to access work in this new world that I was trying to create. And I definitely wasn't going to get that experience in the bank. I started looking into volunteer roles. I had to get the practical tools because the theory just wasn't enough. I also knew that volunteering would mean a further stretch on my already limited time each day, plus another step even further out of my comfort zone. Yikes. And that's when the whispers got louder. There's something else out there for you, Debbie. But I was so scared. It was the thought of the unknown again. I was evolving, stepping into the version of myself that was ready to make my mark in the world, embracing more change and pursuing more dreams. I thought, how is this even possible? Let's be real, financially, I felt tied to my corporate job. And if I'm honest, I felt trapped. I didn't have a partner to lean on, no one else to share the load. It was all me. I couldn't see a way out of corporate. But here's the thing, it was just me. So I could try things and pivot faster when it was just myself to think about. So there's a gift in there for sure, even if it didn't feel that way when I was sitting on my own trying to find solutions. I was also starting to feel different from some of my friends and family, not in a superior way, but in a we're on different paths kind of a way. And I'm sure some of them didn't get what I was trying to do back then. Truthfully, I didn't get it either. But I knew I was ready for something more, just not more corporate. I wanted so badly to be living in and embodying this new life that I was dipping my toe into. It consumed my thoughts every day. Some days I started to believe it might be possible, and then my inner critic would step in, aka the voice of doom. You can't afford to leave corporate. What would you even do? You have no experience. I was in a state of intense inner conflict. I could almost touch a new life, but I couldn't access it. I'd dream of winning the postcode lotto. I was sure the £25,000 jackpot would set me up to try this new life I could just about touch with my fingertips. But I was trapped, or so I thought. Something I was learning on my healing journey was the power of silence. Much of my life up until this point had been chaotic, so I began to focus on quietening my mind. The more I practiced it, the more I found glimmers of inner peace. The more I spent time in silence, I heard my voice of truth get louder. It was my truth plus the facts of the matter. That's the important thing to know. Our imagination will make up all sorts, so working with the facts will always help us achieve clarity and perspective. For those curious about the early days of quietening the mind to stop all the noise, I'd learned about mindfulness. Actually, it was Buddhist lessons and meditation classes to be exact. I was attending weekly classes when I was about 3 months away from the end of my second year at uni. I was often too busy to go, but I knew I couldn't not go. I knew they were my self care, my silence, and my way through the fog. So I went consistently, and eventually the external noise stopped. Not immediately, but over an extended period of a few months. Then I was able to hear my wisdom again, and it was loud. You're not trapped. I'll never forget those words. Clear and calm. That's the thing when you learn to silence the noise. You'll always get the answers. Those quiet moments reminded me that I had in fact been saving money obsessively for 2 years and I didn't know why I was saving at the time. But unconsciously, I was building myself a runway, a lifeline, a chance. I had an exit strategy to the next phase of my life. It's there for the taking if I have the courage. There I was again, challenging myself to become the version of me that dared to walk away from my security blanket. It was never about leaving my job on a whim and jumping ship to escape something. That wasn't my experience. It was about buying my freedom to explore what else life had to offer. So that when the moment came, when that moment came, I chose to bet on myself. It seemed to creep up on me out of nowhere, but I trusted it in a way I've never trusted anything in my life. And it felt right. Scary as hell, of course, but it was right. It was time. It was my time. And the whisper from this chapter, you won't always know what the next chapter looks like, but you'll always feel it when the current one is over. Trust that feeling. It's your intuition calling you home. So there we have it. Chapter 7. I'd love to hear if you've got any input, any thoughts, drop them in the live chat. I've got some notes I've taken I want to go through tonight of some topics. If we don't have too much conversation in the live chat, or you'll have that. Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you, Denise, but just as I'm sitting here tonight, I'm going to just be quite honest about some stuff that's even happening in my own life right now. As I'm reading that, bearing in mind I wrote that book, right? It's so funny because just because you wrote it, sometimes it's when you go back and see it in black and white, you remind yourself of the decisions you've made and the courage that you've had. And something that I've just read there, it was talking about you just know, you don't know what's next, but you know something's done. Well, I'm feeling that way about elements of my business model. Not all of it, but there's parts of it that I'm thinking, you know what? I don't know what's on the other side, but I know it's not this. And it's quite a courageous thing to do. Takes a lot of courage to come to a decision that you can move away from something that you've been holding on to for a prolonged period of time, even if that thing hasn't been serving you well. It's just, there's a part of you somewhere that you just think, I just know that this is done, even although I don't know what's next. I'm going to trust that if I have the courage to let this go, if I have the courage to dare to dream that there's something else out there for me, then at least I've got a chance of finding out what's on the other side. That's just my experience of just something that's happening for me personally right now. Um, Feel free, anybody else, if you want to share anything. I think having that courage and being able to move, yeah, the power of silence and listening to your intuition. I mean, I am someone that likes to listen to YouTube, and my vice is horoscopes, like tarot online. Love it. It's my vice. And I could fill my days just not even listening to it sometimes, but it's just on in the background. But what I know to be true is every time I go through those moments where I learn to sit in that silence. And that's one of the things Italy's really powerful for me, because I'm away from a lot of people that I know, and I'm not brought into the day-to-day life and expectation and just that sort of day-to-day hustle that goes on. I can take a step away. In fact, I know this is going to sound nuts, right? But see, even being not well, so sometimes I'll think to myself, if I end up being, if I'm sick, I think, well, do you know what? This is probably because you just needed to just lie down to things. In the last couple of days, I've had some real wake up moments about my life, my business, about where I want to travel, about how I want to show up in the world. And honestly, I think if it hadn't have been for the fact that I've been flat bound, I've not been over the door. I mean, I've been to the local shop, it's like 20 yards from here. And then I think 30 yards, if even that, to the pharmacy. So for more paracetamol. But other than that, I've not been outside this flat, and yet somehow being forced to stay in, to sit down, to lie down, to rest, and to just almost feel like I can abandon um, responsibility and pressure to find answers, find solutions, create something. You must know what's next. Because I wasn't well, I wasn't capable of that. So what I was doing was, it was like I was daydreaming. I was like, "Do you know, I think I'd really like to get to Venice on this time that I'm in Italy." So then I started to look up, well, if I take the train to Venice, how long is that? Well, it's quite far, but I've always fancied Bologna. So the next minute I'm mapping out this little journey. I'm thinking, oh, I could make that happen, go to Bologna, stay a night, take the train from there to Venice, because that would break the train journey up, stay a couple of nights. If I really wanted, I was like, I could get a flight to Milan and then take the train to Lake Como. I'm thinking, all of a sudden, I'm starting to open my mind again to different things. And I could sit and tell myself, well, have you really got all the resources you need to do that? Is it really the right time? Should you be focusing on another retreat? Should you be going out looking at locations for a retreat? Probably. Probably. But do you know how you just know when you know? I actually thought when I came here, just talking about the power of silence and your intuition, I felt that when I came to Monopoly this time, this is my third time for anyone that doesn't know, I actually thought I would instantly have this feeling of knowing about, right, I'm going to do another retreat here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to plan it for this way. I'm going to organise it for this date. Honestly, it's not what's happened. I felt so at peace here, like it's like another home, that I just, as soon as I arrived here, it just flowed through my body, and I just felt a total peace in my heart. And I just thought, yeah, I don't really know what I want. I'm not going to force it. I'm just going to trust that I'm in exactly where I'm meant to be right now in this moment here in Italy with COVID or whatever it is that I've got, where I'm being forced in a way to stay still and to just allow myself to daydream and dream about going to Venice and staying in a hotel or an apartment that's like on one of the canals, and there's nothing wrong with that. Um, to have that daydream might not happen tomorrow, but surely it's better to dream and then it creates some form of vision that at least has a chance of coming into fruition than to close ourselves down. You're getting a message again about not staying still, whatever format that takes. Yes. In what regards are you talking about career wise? Just responding to Greg there, you're saying about getting a message again about not staying still, whatever format that takes. Yes, so whether it's everything, yes. Sorry, when I reread it, I realised that's what you meant. No, you're absolutely right. Like, and I think, I mean, this is why things like, my book and, creating something like this, whilst it was about me, I wanted it to be like a mirror, like a gateway for other people. I mean this with compassion to myself, right? But I'm a nobody in the sense of, like, I'm just a random, regular, everyday person that just made decisions that went, you know what, I want something different. And I'm just going to take a step forward. And each time I've taken a step forward, it's opened up another pathway. And just like coming back to Italy, I know that being here will bring something to the table for me, even if it's just peace in my heart, which allows me to hear my inner voice. Staying still brings frustration and no recognition of actual progress. Yeah, this I can totally relate, because even just being at home, and God, I love my family so much, and I love catching up with all my friends, all of these things. It's not about the people, but when I go back home, even for a few weeks or a month, I get constricted again, and I feel that tension of stagnation and just being the stillness. So there's that, it's a different version of still. So there's the stillness that's where you're listening, and that brings peace to do that because you're in an exploration phase of life. But then there's the stillness that leads to discomfort and the stagnation, and that's when we're looking for. I'm just reading your message over and over because I keep seeing something different in it. Staying still brings frustration and no recognition of progress. Yeah. I think as well, like, I don't know about you guys or anybody watching this, but there's just such a, for me, I couldn't function and keep going if I didn't pretty much on a daily basis remind myself of how far I've come. So, like, it's like such a challenging journey, and there's days that I don't know what I'm doing, many days, and many days I question it. Not so much, I'm not questioning how I got here. I know what decisions I made. I'm not questioning, am I ready for change? Nothing like that. but I'm questioning the fact that sometimes I'm uncertain, and it's challenging to sit in long-term uncertainty. I mean, that's why I say make it your superpower, because if you can sit in that for periods of time, it will lead you to new things because you're always challenging yourself. But what you're saying there about staying still, um, still brings frustration. Absolutely. So what can you do? Like if you asked yourself, let's see what my wee reflection notes were in here. We never ever do this on the sofa chats, but doesn't mean we can't start. Right, let's look at these reflection questions. So anyone watching this in replay, these are for you as well. Some journal prompts that you might want to think about. Which part of your life feels ready to be recalibrated or realigned, even if no one else understands yet? That's the first one. What's one decision you've made purely from instinct or intuition, not logic? And what did it show you about trust? And the third one, how is your body or energy trying to get your attention right now? And what might it be asking you to shift? That third one, for me, is a real one for me as well. How is my body or energy trying to get my attention right now? And what is it asking me to shift? Well, my body has told me that I need to sit down, and I actually need to lie down, and I need to allow my body to recharge because I'm sick. So it's got my attention loud and clear. I'm now lying down to it, I'm staying still. And what is it asking me to shift? Well, it's asking me to shift out of a constant state of trying to find solutions. It's telling me to stay still. It's asking me to be at peace with myself so that I can actually hear my own answers. Because when we're in that state of solutions all the time, we need that. But when we're in that state 24/7, we'll never truly find the answer. We'll create things that we think are the right thing, but it doesn't always mean that it's exactly what's right for us. It's more like solutions to what we think the problem is. But for me, like now, I needed to be quiet, silenced. I needed to have time to allow myself to reset to Italy without feeling like I have to go out and explore every 10 seconds. The furthest I've explored apart from the local shop is my balcony. And even at that, I've only been on it for about 3 minutes. I've had to learn that it's okay that when I see a glimmer of sun, it'll come back. I don't have to run out. It's not Scotland that I'm living in. I can take some time and just feel at peace here. So a couple of the insights that I just to close on, a couple of insights that I came up with once I'd read the chapter is you're not stuck, you're just not listening to yourself. And that one's very true for me. Because sometimes I'll believe that I'm stuck, but actually it's because I'm trying to be logical all the time and find solutions out of it. Sometimes I just need to be quiet and then the answers come. Another one there is once you outgrow your life, you can't shrink back into it. And that when you start to do that work on yourself, you start to lift the lid a little bit and look underneath and think, God, what else could be there for me? Once you start to go on that journey and you start to take action and be curious and build confidence and heal your nervous system so you can courageously take steps forward. Once you start going forward, it's hard to go back because it leaves you with a lot of discontent and discomfort. So that's why a lot of people won't do it. That's why a lot of people won't actually, lift the lid even a little because they know what's ahead. And the final one, the life you want is already showing you the clues. You're just ignoring them. Well, I don't know about anybody else, but that one certainly struck a chord for me because I'm pretty confident that everything that I need is right in front of me almost all of the time. I have come up with ideas since I've been here. And it's not even been solutions, it's been, I saw an email from my old tutor, my hypnotherapy tutor, about something that triggered something in my brain that made me think about something someone else sent me. And it gave me an idea, and I thought, I've put that off and I've put it off. But maybe that's just what I'm meant to do for the next wee while. Maybe I'm meant to create this as a solution to people's problems and abandon what I've been doing just now and just try something brand new. I'm at a stage now that, I mean, I'm not quite burnt the bridges, burned the boats, because I do have a house in Scotland, albeit it's rented out. But I have left everything behind. I am like the littlest hobo, just wandering, and I'm confident at this point that I probably want to make Italy something of a longer term stay in the future. But the business side of things, I swear, I really just wish I had more answers at times. I just don't. So for anybody out there listening, thinking that I've got it all figured out, trust me, I don't. I might have got to this point, 6 years, all the training before it, 6 years doing what I'm doing, but I've built a life that has given me the abundance that I want. It's maybe not always financial, but I've got freedom. I'm getting to come to the places that I love, and I can do more of what I want on my own terms. So for that, I have to be thankful. And that was a lot of the realizations that I came to over the last couple of days. It's not always about the next big business move. I've made the move. I've made the change. I've took the action. I've changed my life. And sometimes I just forget how far that I've come. So for anybody else watching this, it doesn't matter if you've got it all figured out or not. It might take you another year, 2, 5, 10. Who cares? If you're going to do what you want to do eventually, just pick one little tiny thing this week that you might be able to take a baby step forward from and see how you get on. So that's enough of me talking through my nose tonight with this sinus malarkey thing that I've got. Anyone watching on catch up, let me know by dropping me a comment in the comment section on YouTube. And just remember, I'm here live or on catch up, but live every Tuesday UK time at 7 p.m. And it would be lovely to have you as a subscriber, live on the chat, or just commenting in the YouTube channel. It always helps me grow. So I'm going to leave it for now and head back to my sofa for another wee lie down. And I'll see you all again next week. Bye for now.